Dear students, I am Professor Uday Shetty K, Assistant Professor in Commerce, Government First Grade College, Tenkanidiyur, Udupi, presenting before you a topic, company meetings. It is the 6th chapter of Indian Corporate Law syllabus specified for 6th semester BCom of Mangalore University. In this presentation, I would like to explain the concept of company meetings and requisites of a valid company meeting. Let us discuss the concept of company meeting. As we know, a company meeting is a lawful association or assembly of two or more persons by previous notice for transacting some business. Usually, a company meeting is a valid or legal association of people. It will be convened with the proper notice that's being issued to all the members who are authorized to attend the meeting. As we know, a company is a democratic organization. As such, all decisions of a company should be taken in the meeting either of shareholders or of directors. Now let me discuss the concept of requisites of a valid company meeting. Here, these requisites can be also understood as essentials of a valid company meeting. These essentials or requisites are specified as the basic ingredients of a valid meeting under the Companies Act of 2013. The important requisites of a valid company meeting are proper authority, proper and adequate notice, quorum of meeting, proxies, proper chairperson, agenda of the meeting, motions, sense of the meeting, resolutions, and minutes. Let us discuss all these requisites in detail. The first requisite of a valid meeting is proper convening authority. Here it is made very clear in the Companies Act of 2013 that a meeting becomes valid only if it is properly convened. That means only if it is convened by the person or called by the person with the authority to hold the meeting or authority to call the meeting, then only it becomes valid and enforceable. So who are the authority to convene the meeting? As we know, the board of directors are the people who are authorized to call the meeting. They are authorized by the Companies Act of 2013 as well as they are empowered by the Articles of Association of the company. But in some special circumstances, even the shareholders of the company can take up the right to call the meeting that can be convened by the shareholders in such special circumstance can be an extraordinary general meeting. You have to understand, the annual general meeting will be usually called by the directors by using the powers given to them by the Articles of Association, but extraordinary general meeting to discuss some special business or to discuss some special matter, shareholders can call that meeting. And sometimes under section 97 and 98 of the Companies Act of 2013, even the tribunal, company law tribunal, can call the meeting. It is also comes under the category of extraordinary general meeting. Now let us discuss the second important requisite of a valid meeting, that is proper and adequate notice. When we are discussing the concept of company meeting, we discuss this point where it is a gathering of people who are called with a notice. Unless a proper notice is being served to the members, a company meeting cannot be considered valid. Here, the notice should be proper in the sense it should fulfill all the conditions specified for the notice, either under the Companies Act or under the Articles of Association, and the notice should be served to every person who is authorized to attend and vote in the meeting. So now the question comes, to whom a notice of the company meeting should be given or served? Here, every member of a company whose name appears in the register of members of a company, every legal representative of a deceased member, because the transmission of shares will be affected and it will take time. So during that course of transmission of shares, the legal representative of the deceased member should be given notice of meeting. Every auditor of the company and every director of the company are eligible to receive notice of the meeting. Here, the company law says any deliberate omission to serve notice that would invalidate the meeting. If the notice is not being served to any shareholder or any director or any auditor or any other person who is authorized to attend the meeting, such act will lead to invalidation of the company meeting. Now the point is, what should be the length of notice? Here, length of notice means what should be the duration of notice? Here, the Companies Act of 2013 under section 101 says there should be 21 clear days while serving notice to the people who are authorized to attend the meeting. Here 21 clear days means you should calculate the 21 days by excluding 48 hours of transition time of a meeting notice. That means if we take 21 days, we should exclude the 48 hours of time for transition of the notice in post. So there should be clear 21 days. But in some special circumstances, if 95% of the members who are entitled to vote in the meeting agree or approve, even the notice of shorter duration can be considered. There's nothing like 21 clear days should be there in all the circumstances, but in special circumstance, the shorter duration notice can be issued provided 95% of the people who are entitled to vote in the meeting, they agree. Usually, the contents of a meeting notice includes the place of the meeting, day of the meeting and hour of the meeting, and also it includes the agenda of the meeting and it explains about appointment of proxies. Here, the place, day, date and time of meeting, it is very essential because every person to whom the notice is served should know clearly to where he should go or at which place or at what venue he need to attend the meeting, and there should be one clear clause about appointment of proxies. As you know, appointment of proxy is a statutory right that should be clearly mentioned in the company's meeting notice. In addition to that, there should be an explanatory statement if there is any special business is to be transacted in the meeting. If any special business, that means in case of ordinary business, there is no need of any explanatory statement with the notice. But in case of any special business, a special business means the business which is not coming under the category of ordinary business. If such business is likely to be transacted in the company meeting, then that explanatory statement should be annexed, giving some details about what business they are planning to transact in that meeting. And it should also mention, company's meeting notice should also mention any other business that can be transacted with the permission of the chair. Here, this point is very essential because unless this point is contained in the notice of the meeting, no decision can be made about such business that is being transacted in the meeting. Only if any other business is mentioned in the meeting notice, that business can be brought to the notice of the chairman, and chairman can put it as a motion and it can be decided in the company meeting. Now the third important requisite of a valid meeting is the quorum. The quorum means the specified minimum number of qualified persons who must be present in the meeting to validate the meeting. In every company, the articles of association will specify the minimum number of qualified persons. Here, minimum number of qualified persons means what should be the minimum number of persons should attend the meeting. In that, we consider only the qualified persons. Qualified persons means the people who are eligible or entitled to attend and vote in the meeting. Here, in the case of a public company, the quorum or the specified minimum number of qualified persons depend on the number of members as on the date of meeting. Here, how many number of people are there in the company's membership, that will be taken as the base for calculating the quorum. Here, there is a calculation given under Companies Act of 2013. Here it says, if the number of members is up to 1000, then 5 is the quorum. If the number of members is 1000 to 5000, then the quorum is 15. And in case of the companies having more than 5000 members, the quorum should be 30 members. This is actually the quorum specified for a public company. But in the case of a private company, only 2 members who are personally present in the meeting, they constitute the quorum. So, in case of public company, the quorum will be depending on the number of members as on the date of meeting. But in the case of private company, 2 persons, they can create a quorum, and that can be sufficient for making the meeting valid. Here, the point is, the people who are coming under the point quorum or the word quorum, they must be personally present. They must be physically present. There's nothing like, they're giving any letter or giving any authorization or something. They must be personally present in the meeting, and they must be present at the beginning of the meeting. There's no condition like they must be present throughout the meeting. If they are present at the beginning of the meeting, that is enough, because when the chairman is taking the count, at that time, if the minimum number of persons who are supposed to attend the meeting or who must attend the meeting, if they are present, then the meeting becomes valid. If the quorum is not present at the beginning of the meeting, the resolution or the decisions taken in the meeting, that becomes invalid, and the meeting will get cancelled in some cases, and the meeting will get postponed in some other cases. Here, if the meeting is called on requisition of members, for example, if it's an extraordinary general meeting and it is being called by the members as per their request, at that time, that meeting gets cancelled if the quorum is not present, because it is their wish to hold the meeting and they cannot get at least minimum number of members to attend the meeting, then the meeting should be cancelled. But in the case of any other meeting, here any other meeting means the meeting which is other than the meeting called as per the requisition of members, it will get postponed to the next week on the same day, at the same time, at the same place. Now the fourth important requisite of a valid meeting is the proxies. Here, the one who represents the member who is entitled to attend and vote in the meeting is called a proxy. Here proxy is actually acting like an agent of the member. He is attending the meeting on behalf of the person who is supposed to attend the meeting. Here, every member has a statutory right to appoint proxy. Here, any articles of association or any bylaws of the company, can deny this right of members. A member has a statutory right to appoint another person to attend the meeting on his behalf or to hold the meeting on his behalf. Here, proxy's right is the limited right. He has the right to attend the meeting and vote in the meeting, and he has no right to speak in the meeting. Here, a proxy cannot speak anything. At a particular point of time, one person can represent only 50 members as a proxy in the meeting. Here, a proxy cannot represent more than 50 members at a particular meeting. There will be an instrument called instrument of appointing proxy. Here every person who is appointing proxy should fill it and give it to the proxy, or the proxy when he is attending the meeting he should carry that instrument of proxy, instrument of appointing proxy, and that should be deposited with the company at the time of attending the meeting. This appointment of a proxy is not for permanent period. It is subject to revocation. That means it's subject to cancellation. At any point of time, if the member wish to cancel the appointment of proxy, he can do so by informing the person who is acting as a proxy. Now the fifth element here is a chairperson. Here we know a chairperson will be acting like a leader in the group. He will be acting like the person who is responsible for smooth conduct of the meeting. He will be assuming the responsibility for maintaining order and decorum in the meeting, and he issue rulings. He decide on voting, whether the voting should be done or not, and who is the what is actually the decision in voting, whether it's in favor of the motion or against the motion. And he is the person has an authority to adjourn the meeting if the situation demands. Now the question is how a chairman will be appointed. Usually appointment of chairman is being regulated by the Articles of Association of the company. Here Articles of Association contains bylaws. In that there will be a provision even for appointment of a chairman of a company meeting. In the case of no such provision, if there is no regulatory provision in the articles, members who are present in the meeting, they can choose a person with qualities of leadership as a chairman of the meeting, but no meeting can be conducted without a person who is in the chair. The sixth requirement of a valid meeting is agenda of the meeting. Here agenda of the meeting means it's just like the list of items to be there in the meeting, or the things to be done, or the business to be transacted in the meeting. Here this agenda will be prepared by the secretary in consultation with the chairman of the meeting. Usually secretary will be having clear idea or depth idea about how to hold the meeting, what should be discussed, what should not be discussed or not. So he is going to discuss with the chairman of the meeting, and he is going to draw the agenda of a company meeting. Usually in the agenda, routine items are put in the first order, and all items of similar nature should be placed together. Here, if the items are of similar nature, for example, if there are 3 items relating to distribution of dividend, all the 3 items will be put together. By that, people who are attending the meeting, they feel convenient to understand and participate in the discussion. Usually this agenda will be in the summary form, and it is expected to be very clear and explicit. There's nothing like, it should not be lengthy statement, or it should not be something like confusing or technical jargons of statement should be avoided. Now the seventh requirement of a valid meeting is motions. As we know, motions in simple are the proposals put before the meeting for discussion and taking decision. Here, proposal on any item of business put before a meeting for its consideration and adoption is called motion. So every time before taking decision, it should be presented as a proposal, it should be presented as a motion, and the meeting people who are present in the meeting, they discuss on that matter, and after discussion there may be vote or there may not be vote, but the decision that will be brought out in the form of a resolution. So no decision can be taken in a company meeting without motion. It is not allowed to take any decision in the company meeting without being presented in the form of proposal or motion. Usually this motion will be in writing and it will be signed by the proposer. There is a point like any other matter. Even in that case, the person who is proposing that motion is going to put his signature and it's going to make his identity visible to others. And it is a condition that every motion that we present in the meeting or every proposal we give in the meeting, it should be within the scope of the meeting. It should not be beyond the scope of meeting, because whatever may be the scope of meeting specified either in the Companies Act or under the Articles of Association, beyond that no motion can be brought for discussion in the company meeting. The eighth point is sense of the meeting. Here, sense of the meeting means we are going to adapt some methods of taking decision, especially the voting. If there is any decision to be taken, by taking the opinion of all the members, there will be a vote or voting procedure, and that voting procedure should be such that it should ensure unanimity in the process. The voting in general meeting usually in the form of showing of hands. A showing of hands means the chairman will put the proposal in front of the members present in the meeting and he will say, those who are in favor of the meeting, you can raise your hands. Then finally the number of hands will be counted. If it is more than the people who are against that proposal, then the decision will be approved. Then voting through poll or by poll, confidential voting system can be done, that polling system can be done. At the same time, voting through electronic means is also allowed under Companies Act of 2013. So these are all the important voting methods. So sense of the meeting here is very clear that how the decision should be taken. Here what should be the base for taking decision. Usually the voting methods are being adapted for taking decisions. Now the ninth point here is the resolutions. Here the resolutions refers to the outcome of the meeting, the decisions of the meeting. The formal decision of a meeting of any proposal before it, what is being decided for the proposal, what is being decided for the motion, whether the motion is approved or not approved, whether the motion is accepted or not accepted. The decision that will be brought to the notice of all the members present in the meeting, it is in the form of a resolution. Usually there will be three kinds of resolution. These are the kinds of resolutions listed under Companies Act of 2013. One is ordinary resolution, where simple majority is enough for taking decisions. Here simple majority means if the number of persons favoring the decision is more than the number of persons not in favor of the decision. For example, if there are 20 persons in the meeting hall, if 11 persons accept the decision and if it becomes a valid decision in that particular case, then it will be ordinary resolution. Here ordinary resolution is sufficient for ordinary business. For every ordinary business, ordinary resolution is sufficient. There is a second category of resolution which is called special resolution. Here, special resolution is a resolution which needs the support of 75% of the majority. If there are 100 people present in the meeting, 75 people should accept that particular decision, then only that decision will get approved. It is called special resolution. There are some business that can be discussed only with the special resolution, that can be dealt only with the special resolution. There are some business that needs only ordinary resolution. The third category here is the resolutions requiring special notice. Here it is a resolution that can be passed in the meeting only if a notice of at least 14 days is served. Here it is just like extraordinary general meeting where the notice is being served to the people, and if the 14 days notice is being served to the members, and if that decision requires such a notice, it is called a resolution requiring special notice. Here, whatever may be the resolution, ordinary resolution or special resolution or resolution requiring special notice, once it is made and once it is a valid resolution, it will be valid and binding on all the members who are present in the meeting. At the same time, it will be valid and binding for the future activities of the company. The 10th point here is the minutes of the meeting. Here it is the 10th requirement of a valid meeting. Here, whatever may be the business we transact in the company meeting, it is to be systematically recorded and documented. A concise and accurate official record of the business transacted at company meeting or the written record of the proceedings of the meeting is called minutes of the meeting. Here, usually company maintains a book for recording all proceedings of the meeting, and that book will be the most important document for the company. It is being taken under the Evidences Act also. It can be taken as the evidence also. It must contain fair and correct summary of the proceedings. Usually, pages in the minutes book must be consecutively numbered, and this minute book must be maintained at the head office of the company, because you have to understand, when we say important books of the company, even the minute book that comes under that, because it is a book that contains all information relating to the proceedings of the meeting. Because if any person want to refer what is being done or what decision is being taken or how the decision is being taken, what is the voting procedure being followed, he can refer back this minute book, and this minute book can be definitely useful to the person who is interested in the company. So this is about the 10 important requisites of a valid company meeting. So here you have to keep in mind, a valid meeting is only binding the members and stakeholders of the company. The meeting becomes valid only if it fulfills all these requirements. So here I would like to conclude, a company is an organization having democratic system of taking decisions. So the meetings will be the integral part of a company's management. Without holding valid meeting, no decision can be taken in a joint stock company. In this session, I covered concept of company meeting and requisites of valid meeting. In the next session, I would like to cover important types of company meeting. I would like to thank you for listening to this lecture. If you like this lecture in YouTube, you can click the subscribe button. By that, you can get notification of my future classes. Thank you very much.